I'm going to try to go. I need to take a quick, like a quick 2-minute break. Garrett, let's go to you in the field. And all right, here's Ashley. Ashley, I'm taking like a 2-second break. I'll be right back.
Okay, thank you, Ken. We are going to pull up that graphic again that showed all the shelters in Vernon. As he mentioned, he said this could be headed that way, a dangerous storm right now. So if we can show everyone at home that they are getting that pulled up. But just in case you were in Vernon and you're needing a shelter and you don't have a safe place to go, the elementary schools in Vernon and also the middle school in Vernon, they are opening up for a shelter, a safe place to go. If you are out, this is the time to go ahead and head that direction. And they're going to put it up on your screen so that way you can have the address if you need it. We are also streaming on Facebook right now, so in case anyone's lost power, if you have friends or family, tell them that we are on Facebook if they want to keep up to date with Ken and Garrett. And if Garrett's getting in touch with us, y'all can let us know and we can check in with him as well.
Okay, I'm back now. I tried to take a quick break there. Now I'm back. And we need to kind of zoom in here on the town of Vernon. It's kind of hard to see anything because there's so many colors on there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these warnings off. We know where the warnings are. We just need to be able to see where the tornado is at this time. And again, we do have debris with the being lofted up into the sky. So the tornado, and this is going to be, it needs to update. The radar will update. This is moving southeast of Lockett, moving towards Center Drive. Now this is headed right at the town of Vernon. If we kind of expand this, the tornado is moving in this general direction, so it's going to move right over, maybe even over the downtown Vernon area. I'm hoping that this will weaken before it gets to Vernon. I'm hoping that happens. I cannot confirm that, but look at the significant rotation still showing up on the radar. That is a very, 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 very strong signature for a tornado, and that should be kind of over into here now, and then kind of going up into this general direction. The tornado is moving at a, let's see here, that's from Oklahoma. I'm trying to read spotter reports here. Let's see, we had a large cone southeast of Lockett. So large cone tornado being reported by the National Weather Service with this storm. I'm not surprised by that, and it's not slowing up yet. But we still have the tornado, big tornado on the ground at this time on the southeast side of Lockett, right over 433 and over Center Drive. And this is about to move over Vernon shortly. I still have a lot of lightning, and let me see what the reflectivity looks like over Vernon at this time. It's just raining too heavily, so I'm not going to be able to show you. And it looks like the tornado was perhaps wrapped in rain anyway. It looks like maybe on the last couple of scans that maybe it's almost moving due north and kind of back to the northwest. Boy, this thing has been a crazy, crazy storm to follow. That's for sure. And it looks like now, if you follow the trends on radar, it's wrapped up. It's over Lockett and going to move at least over the western side, but over Vernon. If we go back to velocities, that is a very strong couplet still showing up. I'm hoping, though, like this is a large tornado on the south of Vernon. That's from Richard Smith, from Rick Smith and the National Weather Service. And I hope that the people in Vernon are getting to shelter now, especially on the west side. Big tornado, looks like big tornado right over Lockett and going to move right over the western side of Vernon at this time. The storm is actually the tornado has actually become kind of slowed up for just a little bit. They've actually kind of become stationary over Lockett. Because it's deviating, it's doing different things in the atmosphere. The storm is moving east, and then it took a left turn, and now it's moving back off to the northwest. This tells me, folks, that this is a large, dangerous, I'm talking a very dangerous tornado, probably EF2, EF3 kind of tornado, moving over Lockett, and from there, it's going to at least pass over the western side of Vernon. We thought it would be the southeastern side of Vernon, and it still could happen that way, but based upon some of the trends I'm seeing in radar, this is kind of spinning up into this general direction over the western side of the Vernon area. So if you live in Vernon, you need to be taking shelter, especially on the western side of town. You need to be taking shelter now. This is a very dangerous situation. This is a life or death situation, probably a situation where you certainly need to be in a storm cellar or below ground. to avoid serious injury. Now, if you don't have one of those, it's okay. You can still keep yourself safe by getting to the center part of your house, away from the upstairs. Of course, we got several businesses over this way, and hopefully everybody's in their tornado safe spot here this evening. Now, as this big circulation, this big tornado, hopefully it lifts soon. It looks like this is definitely going to miss Wichita County now, but this is going to move across from Vernon. From there, it moves into the northern parts of Wichita County. I'm walking back over to my weather desk to see if I can see the debris in the storm still, and every time I do that, it goes back to the warnings. I still see it there, kind of over Lockett. You can still kind of see the debris showing up right about that area. And this is going to continue, again, moving in this general direction. We told you that this could happen today. We could have tornadoes today. We're fortunate that we haven't seen more tornadoes today than we originally thought. Look at how that storm is doing. Watch how it's moving to the... What I'm going to do here is I'm going to expand this out a little bit, the lapse out. Watch what happens over the last hour. Notice how it was moving east, and then all of a sudden it takes a hard left turn. Now, there might be some signs. I'm not ready to give, not ready to get on board with that. But there might be some signs that the storm may try to weaken here before too much longer. And with the north move, not good for Lockett, but it looks like this might spare the downtown Vernon area. Still on velocity, still seeing a significant tornado on the northeast side of Lockett. In fact, if we zoom in a little closer to that, that's still very strong rotation showing up out there over very rural areas. There's Center Drive. If you live out that way, you know where that is. There is FM 433. Tornado just passed over that, over Lockett. Probably going to see quite a bit of damage out that way. But if you look, watch the velocities. Watch how that's moving almost due north now. And it looks like, if this continues, it looks like that Vernon could be spared. How about that? How about weather sometimes? This looked like this was for sure going to just whack Vernon, but it looks like the storm is going to take enough of a left-hand turn, and I'm not ready to give you the clear yet, but it may have taken enough left-hand turn to spare the southern and eastern and downtown Vernon areas. But if you live west between Tolbert and Vernon, this field could head towards you. So not good news for the western side of Vernon, but maybe this point eastward, maybe some better news for you. Maybe the tornado will pass far enough to the north or to the west of you where it will spare the downtown Vernon area. But again, we can't rule that out. Again, the storm has done so many deviant things. It's been so strong this evening that it's been really difficult to be able to track it. As you saw a minute ago, it's moving. It started off moving northeast. Then it started moving to the east, and then it started moving to the northeast. Now it's moving due north. And when these storms, these supercells are this strong, they kind of have a mind of their own. And when they start spinning like this, they have a tendency to deviate their motion. So this was radar side. This was the latest radar update. Still had the tornado over the Lockett area. I'm trying to read from the Weather Service. Don't see anything new being reported on here. There's the latest, and still seeing a significant tornado now on the north side of Lockett. And again, if we look at this and continue to do the motion, look at this moving due north now. The tornado is moving. It's a big tornado with that. It's moving due north, and at least based upon the latest trends, and you're going to have to just follow me. You're going to have to follow me because, like I said, this thing's been doing a lot of weird things. But if this continues, then Vernon is going to be spared. How about that? I mean, the storm is moving right at you. It looks like it's going to move south of Lockett. Then it turns left, moves over Lockett, and then it misses Vernon. It looks like it's going to hit Vernon, then it winds up perhaps missing Vernon. That is certainly not good news for the guys that are the people that live out this way, but certainly would be good news for Vernon if we wound up seeing this tornado miss the town of Vernon. Let's hope and pray that that is certainly going to be the case. Looks like, again, the warning, there's the new warning. That's from the National Weather Service. It includes, our sirens are probably going off in Vernon now, but I can say, and I'm going to watch the trends on this, the tornado may wind up shifting up like this. So that would put the western side of Vernon in harm's way, but it would spare this part of Vernon. Let's hope that that does indeed happen. So Large tornado directly hit Lockett, Texas. Major damage, houses completely destroyed in Lockett. Not surprised. I hope my good friend Dennis is okay. He kind of lives south and southwest of Lockett, so hopefully he is okay at the present time. I'm trying to check Facebook to see if anybody has messaged me here. Anyway, somebody's watching with their Dorothy slippers on tonight. But we are watching that closely. The tornado is now north of Lockett and moving due north up toward the Talbert area. Let's kind of widen this too. We don't want to forget about what else is going on across the area. That's our tornado. It'll probably last for a little while longer at least. But we still have these thunderstorms. These are down towards Seymour. This is kind of a line of thunderstorms that have developed. These are hail producers and wind producers down towards Throckmorton. Now, these are going to continue to build east and maybe even northeast as we go on throughout the evening. Those are not tornadic in nature. Those are wind producers. Our tornado still remains over just north of Lockett and moving to the west of Vernon. I'm hoping that this storm starts the weakening soon. It hasn't yet, but I'm hoping that the weakening phase will begin here pretty soon on it. But as of right now, it has not weakened yet, but it is moving almost due north. Heavy rain and hail over Vernon at this time. I'm going to try to position my tower cam, my Vernon tower cam, which is over United Regional. So see there's so much lightning and so much rain on it, you can't see anything at this time. So I'm not going to show you that, but maybe after the rain lifts to the north, we can kind of get a better idea of what the storm looks like over there in Vernon. And I know that the storm tracker is still trying to get in position. Why don't we try to check in with Garrett and see where he is at this time and if they're able to get in position? Do we have Garrett?
I can hear you right now. We just turned north on Highway 25 as I was anticipating that this was going to continue its eastward track. But like you said, these supercells do tend to get a mind of their own whenever they start really getting strong, like you talked about. I'm currently heading north right now, just turned off 277, so I'll be in Wichita County here shortly. So I'm still going to try and get out ahead of this thing for you, Ken. I'm not giving up on it yet because, like you said, there is a large tornado still on the ground with this based on the radar, the reflectivity, the velocity and wind speeds with this. Definitely a very dangerous situation like you've talked about. So I'm still trying to get in position. I am heading northbound on 25. Now that's going to be intersecting from 277 up to the north.
All right. Well, hopefully you get in position, but it looks like you're probably going to miss it. I would imagine. I would think you're probably going to miss out on that one. I would imagine it's moved too far to the north, and you're too far out of position. So I don't think we'll be able to catch up to it. So, all right, let's go back over to the radar, and again over Vernon, very heavy rainfall and hail continues. Mostly small hail. The storm on our radar, I still see the circulation even on the reflectivity there just north of Lockett. And there's still our large tornado on the ground. And the trends continue like I like to see. The storm is moving due north. If anything, it's moving north, maybe even a little bit west of due north. So yeah, maybe moving a little bit northwest. I mean, this has been an amazing storm. I don't know that I've ever seen one, at least in my time covering weather, that's been like this. This storm literally went just like that. So it's moving northwest. It looks like this is going to spare Vernon. But if you live west of Vernon, northwest of Lockett, now you need to be watching out for this. Up towards Tolbert, you need to be watching out for this. I'm reading power lines, power poles. Looks like Lockett took a pretty big hit. So if you are where we can, what am I trying? I've lost my daggum train of thought. Sorry, guys. But it looks like the storm is going to miss Vernon at this present time. Still a large tornado, still a dangerously strong tornado on the ground north of Lockett, moving north-northwest towards Talbert. I'm not ready to give Vernon the all clear yet, but it looks like this tornado is going to miss you. How about that? Now, on the latest scan, there's still a tornado there, but it looks like the tornado might be a little bit smaller. right there, just north of Lockett, headed right at Tolbert. So now if you live in Tolbert, you need to be paying attention to this storm. I believe that Vernon's going to be okay, though. I believe unless the storm does something crazy, I think that Vernon is going to miss this storm. How about that? How about that? And you talk about a force field. There's you a force field. But a lot of times when you see these storms as strong as this one, oftentimes that's what happens. These storms deviate and change motions and move different directions. I can remember storm chasing the El Reno tornado back in the, I think it was 2011 maybe, or sometime during that time frame. And that tornado did something similar. It took a hard left turn. And when it took that left turn is when it grew to 2 miles in intensity. And it looks like at times this storm tonight that's been near Vernon has also been big. I'm not saying it was 2 miles in width, but it was certainly a big tornado, strong tornado. And I would say, just based upon what I've seen, probably EF2, EF3. Getting a lot of reports of damage. So in the newsroom, we probably want to send somebody to Lockett. So if you're watching us, if you're listening to us in the newsroom, Lockett took a direct hit, and that's just south of Vernon. Still see a tornado on the ground. The circulation is not as large as it was. So we're probably, I'm not officially saying that it's weakening, but it looks like we're probably in the weakening stages of this tornado. Still see that tight couplet, still a strong tornado, but it looks like it's not the wedge that it was. It looks like it's a lot smaller now, and this is moving due northwest right at Tolbert, but it looks like the tornado may be. Let's hope that this trend continues. I'm hoping that this tornado is still showing signs of weakening as it moves off to the north and to the northwest. And Vernon, good news, you're going to miss out on this tornado. I was real concerned about you a little bit ago, and it looks like you're going to be okay. All right, so we got a spotter saying there's a lowering now southeast of Vernon. Let's check that out. As a matter of fact, and just when I was about ready to give you guys the all clear, it looks like the storm has developed a new area of rotation. So let's look at this now. And this would be over the town of Vernon. So at least the initial tornado is going to miss you. But we need to pay attention to now Oakland Union and on the east side of Vernon because there is a new area of rotation that's developed. And the way this thing has been, these areas of circulation, they pop up and we wind up getting significant rotation and they wind up producing tornadoes after they take a few minutes to organize. So this storm isn't through yet. You know, I thought we might be starting to see the weakening phase of it, but looks like we just got a new area, a new updraft that's developed on it, maybe a new mesocyclone. And we're seeing now on the east side. So there's our tornado. Looks like it's beginning to weaken. And here maybe another circulation, maybe another tornado that may be trying to develop now on the southeast side of Vernon. So definitely going to keep an eye on that. Looks like maybe we can look at it on our Vernon Tower cam now. I'm going to kind of position some things around and maybe we can see it. So I'm going to go here and then I'm going to go, there's been so much rain on it, it's kind of hard to see anything on my Vernon Tower cam this evening. A lot of glare out there and it's kind of hard to see anything. But I'm getting a lot of reports of damage, folks, from the town of Lockett at this time. I could read off some of these to you here. This is from Storm Spotter Network, spotter 1 mile northeast of Lockett, Wilbarger County, multiple power lines down northeast side of Lockett, power lines down Highway 70. Also, some kind of building was damaged on the north side of the road, so I got reports of damage there. There's just lots of reports of damage, significant damage in Lockett. New lowering developing on the southeast side of Vernon via long-time storm chaser, and that's what we're kind of trying to keep an eye on here, would be that new little hook that's trying to develop out there. Let's take a look and see what else is going on around the area besides there. Look at those big storms down to the south. These are strong wind producers and also hail. Notice how they're building to the northeast. Now, these storms could impact Wichita Falls, and by the looks of those storms, Hail and heavy rainfall is going to be the primary concern with those, and maybe some strong wind gusts. We've also got some smaller thunderstorms, and I probably need to text my wife and let her know that you need to get the dogs inside. Looks like some heavy rain is showing up over there. Let me text her. Give me just a second. Close the pet door. So now, because we're watching these storms. Now, these storms are severe. There's no warning out for them. I wouldn't be surprised to see some severe thunderstorm warnings come out for these storms as they make their way northeast across Baylor, Young, and into Archer County. Eventually, these could impact Wichita County. Let's look at the velocity, the wind velocities, and I see some pretty strong winds in those storms across the southwestern side of Archer County. Some of those winds could be really strong in that storm as they make their way off to the northeast. But the storms that we're most concerned about are the supercells off to the north. Good news, and we told you that this might be happening. It looks like the rotation, the tornado has now dissipated based upon the radar velocities there in Wilbarger County. It looks like as it was moving to the north, it looks like it roped out and the tornado has dissipated. And I do not see significant rotation on the east side of Vernon now. That is certainly good news. The storm doesn't look as organized as it did. Now, it could reorganize as it moves northeastward, but as of right now, it's not there yet. The area that I'm watching is going to be kind of east-southeast of Vernon, but as of right now, not very well organized. We'll keep a close eye on that. Here's some storms that have developed over into Wichita County. Now, I've had people that have asked me tonight on Facebook, and I haven't been able to answer you. I'm sorry. I've just got too much going on. I can't answer everybody individual questions. But on Facebook tonight, we're watching this area here pretty closely. We're watching Wichita County, but none of these storms, at least right now, that have developed here are severe. They are going to produce some thunder, some lightning, and some downpours, but nothing severe, at least not yet. These storms may try to grow some, and they could produce perhaps some big hailstones, but I don't think these are going to be tornadic. We'll keep an eye, on this area, but as of right now, it doesn't look like these storms are going to be tornadic, but they will produce some pretty heavy rain, and like I say, there could be some hailstones that may try to show up in this. The only tornadic storms that we really see on radar remain across Wilbarger County. But even there, the threat looks like it might be beginning to wane some. If we look at the radar, especially the northern parts of Wilbarger County, I do not see rotation in the radar at this time, which is definitely some good news. We can put this into motion. Watch how that big tornado dissipates. We thought we might have a little rotation developing on the east side of Vernon, and I still can't rule out that this may try to organize a bit here. But no rotation, nothing that looks imminent at this time. That is not a tornado. The good news is the tornado has finally dissipated. The one that was north of Lockett, if we look at the what's called the reflectivity in the storm, that's going to cross the Red River and move into Tillman County. Looks like we got Ashley here. Ashley, you got an update for me?
Yes, and I don't know if they can turn on mic 3 for me.
Turn on mic 3 for her.
Okay, so I just got off the phone with the Wilbarger County Emergency Coordinator, Cody Alexander, and he really wanted to stress to everybody in Wilbarger County just to sit still. Things are, of course, as Ken's mentioning, still happening. He, however, Ken does not believe at this time that Lockett has taken a direct hit. He said, but they don't know because they're not out there, but at this time he does not believe that. He said there was damage in between Thalia and Lockett. And there's also reports that a home was hit directly, but he said that cannot be confirmed at this time. So
okay, well, based upon what I've seen, and I'm certainly not disputing what he said because he's there, I'm not. But based upon what I've seen, it looks like Lockett did get hit pretty hard, especially on the east side. So we'll have to see how all that plays out. Hopefully,
he did say there was damage though. So absolutely, there is damage out there.
All right, yeah. Well, that's certainly what we thought, and unfortunately, I think we're going to wind up seeing some pretty extensive damage over that way. Just based upon what I've seen on radar. So let's see if this storm reorganizes itself over Vernon. It's trying to. I don't see a lot of rotation in the storm at this time, but it's trying to reorganize itself. There are some areas of weak, broad rotation there, but oftentimes the supercells, they can be cyclic and they can go on to produce families of tornadoes. I do see a little broad rotation kind of showing up kind of in this area here. It could intensify a little bit more as it makes its way north. But as of right now, I do not see what looks like a tornadic circulation, but we'll see if that gets any better organized at this time. I'm trying to position my, my tower cam to be able to see that in Vernon. I haven't popped it up because we haven't really been able to see anything on it because of all the rain out there tonight. And, you know, we haven't shown the Comanche Nation Entertainment First Alert Storm Tracker much tonight because they've really been out of position. They haven't been in a place to be able to really see all of this stuff. You know, we went so far to the west because we thought that's where the area would be, and we nailed that, called that right. But we wound up getting out there in areas, and it was so hard to make the decisions with the way this storm was erratic. We just didn't make the right decisions when it came to putting ourselves where we needed to be, and I'll take responsibility for that. I should have been, you know, I should have been where I could communicate a little bit better with Garrett on that. So, but we were able to at least track it here on the radar. We just weren't able to show it to you live. And I know Garrett's trying to get in position, but I believe that the majority of it may be over with. But we'll see what happens with the storms as they make their way to the north. Still a very dangerous thunderstorm, and it may just be trying to reorganize. But I would think that that these storms that are really starting to blow up south of it eventually would choke it off. But you know, this storm has been so strong that might not be the case. Now, if you are watching here in Wichita Falls, we are seeing some thunderstorms developing. We see them over Holiday, Lakeside City, now the southwestern part of Wichita Falls. Those are not severe. But we are keeping an eye on a line of thunderstorms that has developed, a cluster of thunderstorms from Seymour over to Round Timber, headed up towards Archer City. Those have probably got some pretty decent hailstones in them. And we're going to look at the winds in them. That's got some strong winds. These are straight line winds. Now, these are winds that are blowing all out from the storm. Remember, to get tornadoes, you've got to have winds that blow towards and away. And as of right now, what you're seeing is cool outflow winds. These are winds that are all blowing out from the radar. With that said, it's not out of the question that a little spin up could develop. But as of right now, it looks like the main concern with that is going to be some strong wind gusts and perhaps some downpours and some hail as it makes its way across northwestern parts of Young County and over into Archer County. You can really see those strong winds there, especially in southwestern Archer County at this time. There's a new severe thunderstorm warning that just got issued for the northwestern parts of Young County. I wouldn't be surprised to see warnings get issued for Archer and eventually Clay County on this as these storms make their way to the northeast. And we could wind up seeing these storms kind of train over the same areas, so there could be some flooding that might actually wind up being a concern there. Look at all the heavy rain that has developed across the southwestern parts of Oklahoma tonight. A lot of heavy thunderstorms, and there could be some flooding into those areas. All right, so it looks like Garrett, I'm not sure where they are, but it looks like Garrett's somewhere. So, Garrett, I'm going to toss things over to you. All right, so Garrett's in Electra. So, Garrett, tell me what you're seeing and what your plan is now.
The plan, and feel free to steer me in the right direction. And Ken, that was not on you earlier. That's on me. I dropped the ball. I made a turn south when I should have turned north. That and a lack of cell coverage out here really hindered the chase today. And I feel a lot of weight on my shoulders on that one. But Ken, right now I'm heading to 287 right now. Gonna continue up to the north. Going through the city of Electra right now. Gonna turn west on 287. Ken, do you want me to hang tight kind of over by Electra while this storm kind of moves a little bit further to the northeast?
Yeah, you know, and y'all probably need to turn off the flashing lights because it really makes it hard to see anything on the tracker with those flashing lights. It's just real distracting, so I'm having a hard time being able to see. That's much better. Because now you can see the lightning out there, and you can see a lot going. Of course, you're in Electra, so you know that storm is. You know, we've got a bunch of storms blowing up now, and I would think that while the tornado threat isn't at zero, it's certainly maybe a little bit lower than it was. That's still a nasty supercell, Garrett, and it could reorganize. It could reorganize as that crosses the Red River. I believe that that's still going to be our main game in town when it comes to anything tornadic. The storms that are forming to the southeast of there, we have new severe thunderstorm warnings that cover all of Archer and now southern Wichita County. Those are mainly going to be hail and high wind producers. So at this point in time, Garrett, you might want to go take a look at that cell up to the north. There's still some rotation on it. But I believe that we're probably going to wind up seeing the tornado threat begin to kind of go down some, now that we're getting a lot of thunderstorms that are blowing up over the same area. So, you're not that far from it. You could drive up there and take a look, that's for sure. I don't think the stuff that's to the south is going to be tornadic. So you might go take a look at it and just see what it looks like and kind of adjust from there. We'll probably bring you back to the station before too much longer as we track these storms that are about to head towards Wichita Falls. So drive up a little way along 287, take a look at that, see what it looks like, and then we'll kind of change things around from there if we need to. So, all right, so let's go back over. I got the feed in my monitor here. So let's see here. I got a report from Shane Naylor here. It said he's in Lockett with damage, and I am seeing pictures here of damage. He's in Lockett. He said he's got a few injuries there too. So apparently we've got. All right. So Shane Naylor says he's in Lockett with major damage and a few injuries. I'm trying to ask him what he can report. So I'm trying to get that out, try to get some information on that from somebody that's actually there at the present time. So it sounds like quite a bit of damage down towards Lockett. We are looking, if we go over the radar, we are looking at the new severe thunderstorm warning that covers Archer and Young County. And this will, there's a thunderstorm on the south side of Wichita Falls over Lakeside City and over the lake itself. That's just a downpour, maybe a little small hail as it moves over the city, but that's not that intense. I am watching these storms down to the south. I'm looking, and it looks like we may be having a little bit of. All right, this is something different. This is not like a situation where we have a supercell. This is not a supercell. This is a bow. So you can see the winds pushing out over Albany and the southern side of Archer County. But when you have a bow, like if you were to take your hand and put it in water, what happens? You move it across a bucket of water, it pushes out. What happens on the north side? You get an eddy or a swirl. Same thing happens with the atmosphere. So you've got this push, and on the other side of it, there's a circulation. So there is a little circulation showing up in this storm now on the east side of Baylor County. No tornado warning, and this doesn't look like a tornadic circulation yet, but we need to monitor this area closely. I believe that with a situation like this, if we did get a tornado, it would be more of the weaker spin-up variety. But this has been a really, really hard forecast and a really hard thing to look at in terms of weather tonight. This is going to move across the northwestern side of Archer County, which is Lake Kickapoo, and there's the latest updated imagery. This is not a tight couplet, but there is a little bit of some circulating wind showing up. This would be damaging winds. This is straight line. This is all winds blowing in one direction, and this might be a little bit of a swirl. So you have what's called a little bit of an area of low pressure that develops. Remember, with low pressure, you have counterclockwise circulations there. So we got a little weak low, a little meso low that kind of develops. Out ahead of it, you get a push out. And then as that pushes out, you get a little swirl or a little, what we call a little comma head on the back side of it. So damaging winds and hail very likely with this storm across Archer County at this time. All right, Garrett, looks like y'all might have repositioned yourself. Do you see something different out there where you're at?
We're sitting on the side of the road doing some storm analysis right now. I'm just sitting off of 287, right where you would get off to go into a lecture right now. So just kind of doing some storm analysis right now, still kind of keeping an eye on these cells that are out north of Vernon and Oklahoma Union. Once again, I'm just north of a lecture right on 287.
All right, let's see here. We got Ashley Fitzwater here in the studio. Ashley, have you got some new information for us?
Yes, so I know there's been a lot of confusion back and forth about if there's damage in Lockett, if there's not. Again, we've been trying to just confirm that for ourselves, and I told you earlier that the Will Barger County Emergency Coordinator said at that time he did not believe that was true. He did just call me back, and he said there is damage in Lockett. He is about 20 miles away. He is going to call us back and let us know if there's any injuries and to what extent that damage is. So, this is a developing story. Of course, all of this is continuing to go on. They're trying to make sure people are staying safe as the storms continue. So we just appreciate him, keeping us up to date as well. But we wanted to let the viewers know, because there's a lot of people on Facebook who say they have loved ones in that area. So we'll, of course, let you know as soon as we learn more.
All right, thanks a lot, Ashley. I really appreciate your help. Garrett, if you can hear me, I believe that you need to focus your energy back to the south towards Wichita Falls. I don't know that you can catch these storms, but I think we're going to see a pretty good damaging wind event that's going to take place over Wichita Falls shortly. Maybe even I can't rule out something that spins up in that, but it looks to me like some strong winds and hail threats are going to increase over Wichita Falls here after 10 o'clock. Those are some gnarly storms down to the south, and if we look at the velocity still, there's still a little. In order to get a tornado, though, this is going to have to wrap around, and this is not. It hasn't wrapped around yet. You would see the greens and the reds really kind of swirl together. You don't really see that, but there is some type of a weak circulation in here. This is damaging winds, and some of these winds could be in excess of 60 to 70 miles per hour across southern Archer County, headed towards Archer City. Now, keep in mind, these storms are moving to the northeast, and Lake Kickapoo down towards Archer City, maybe up towards Holiday, Lakeside City, the south side of Wichita Falls could be impacted with strong wind gusts and perhaps some large hailstones as it moves to the east. So that's something that we want to keep an eye on. Boy, this has been a lot of severe weather tonight. We've been on air with this for a long time. I'm surprised I still even have a voice at this point in time. But there's Wichita Falls. There's this nasty complex of storms that's moving to the northeast. And if we look, like I said, these are not like the supercells we were seeing earlier. This is more of a bow echo type of situation. But these can still produce a lot in the way of dangerous conditions. These can still be very dangerous at times. And we can look at the velocities on here. And you're really seeing strong winds in this storm. This would be more of what we call, here's your bow. And you do have strong winds blowing kind of away from the radar, and these are winds blowing towards the radar. So you kind of have, if these colors can kind of wrap up, then you might wind up seeing something spin up. But right now, I don't think that's the case. Right now, it looks like more of just a very strong wind event moving across Archer County. Some of these winds could be really strong as they move across Lake Kickapoo, and then from there they move north of Archer City and could threaten Lakeside City. So that's something that we definitely need to keep an eye on as this makes its way to the north and to the northeast here. All right, so let me zoom out here a bit. And I know Garrett and our photojournalist Rowan are making their way back towards Wichita Falls now, which is probably a pretty smart thing to do. The tornado warnings have now all been allowed to expire. Here is our storm that was responsible for producing a tornado near Lockett earlier. What a crazy storm that was. But we are, I'm still monitoring it. No signs of significant rotation with that storm at this time. Vernon, you did dodge a bullet. That's certainly some good news. I think that our main focus now on severe weather will be with this bow echo moving across Archer County, and eventually that's going to head up towards the Henrietta area as well. So Clay County, a lot of lightning in that. This is moving northeast. This is moving right along near Dundee, right along 287. And if you do the math, this is going to head right at Lakeside. Here's Lakeside City, located there. There's Wichita Falls, the south side of it. There's Southwestern Parkway, and there's a Holiday. Here's your bow echo feature here, and this is moving northeast toward Archer City, the northern side of Wichita County, and over into Clay County. So those are areas we're going to have to keep a very, very, very close eye on. And you have to forgive me, my voice is getting a little bit weak. I've been talking a lot. You don't think that that's going to be the case, but I've been talking a lot tonight. We had a lot of excitement with those storms, still watching them, especially here in Wichita Falls. I'm getting some water, so you'll have to excuse me here for just a minute as I get some water in this in my cup here. It's nice to have ice in the refrigerator here. Nice, good, cool drink here on my throat. We will have news coming up here in a few minutes. Of course, we'll have the 10 o'clock newscast. We'll probably, unless it's, we'll probably still keep with mostly weather in case, something, unless something it kind of quiets down some, we might do a little bit of news. because we're no longer really looking at this being, at least for right this second, a tornado event. This is more of a damaging wind hail type of thing. The good news is that once we get past tonight, I don't see any signs of severe weather, at least for a while. It may get hot this weekend. We could see temperatures up above 100 this weekend. It's possible. I don't think we're done with severe weather season yet, though. I mean, there's still a pretty active storm track. I don't know that it's going to produce tornadoes and severe weather here, but it certainly is something to keep an eye on. It's just that time of the year. We're going back to the reflectivity there. You can see the bow feature. You can see how it's bowing out across Archer County, just south of Lake Kickapoo. Possible a spin-up could develop in that, but I'm not expecting a lot of that, but it's possible that it could. And if we look at the look at the velocities, we're not seeing signs of rotation yet on that storm. I do think there's going to be some strong wind gusts here in Wichita Falls. Oh, thank you. Here in Wichita Falls, I do think that I'm going to put a little cough drop in my mouth here. So if I sound like I got something in my mouth, that's exactly what it is. Helps my throat out a little bit. When you've been talking, for almost 5 straight hours, that's what happens here. All right, so I'm still kind of looking at the we still have this little supercell up towards Vernon, and there's still a little bit of a hook towards Elliott. And there might still be a little bit of rotation in it. Not a lot of rotation, but there might still be a little bit there. If there weren't all these storms to the south of it, I would still be kind of concerned about it having tornado potential. And it still does as it crosses over into Tillman County. So we won't rule that out. It may kind of cross up towards the Pumpkin Center area. This is the same storm that was responsible for the tornadoes over towards Lockett. But as of right now, it is not producing a tornado at this time. There's still some weak rotation showing up, but not a lot of rotation there. Back down to the south, I'm watching this area here pretty closely. I'm making sure it doesn't wrap up, because sometimes with these bow echoes, again, you can get a little spin up on the north side of them. But as of right now, what you're seeing is basically just some strong wind gusts. We'll see if this area spins up. There might be some weak, broad rotation, maybe near Lake Kickapoo. And we'll watch that as it makes its way up towards Wichita Falls and make sure it doesn't tighten up or anything. But you can really see the strong signatures on radar. That's some really strong thunderstorms down there, folks. It almost looks like that might be a little embedded supercell on the north side of that, out towards Lake Kickapoo. But with this wind area, this is kind of bowing out ahead of it. And that could be producing some rain-cooled air. So oftentimes that would kind of choke it off. But remember, again, as these storms develop, you could wind up seeing the winds change direction and feeding into it like this. So we'll watch and see and make sure this storm doesn't spin up. Right now, I don't think it's going to happen. But that's going to head right at Wichita Falls and Holiday and Lakeside City. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that. I am watching it closely. Very strong winds in it. And there might be a little broad rotation over Lake Kickapoo. But as of right now, nothing tornadic. But if these winds can wrap around, then we might see a threat for a tornado try to develop with this across northern Archer County. So we'll keep an eye on that. Right now, that is not the case. But I do want to, at least share my thoughts with you at this time. I just want to share my thoughts on what we're seeing with this storm. Even if it didn't produce a tornado, it's still a dangerous storm with large hailstones over Lake Kickapoo. Well, at least, I'd say at least nickel-sized hail over Lake Kickapoo. And damaging wind gusts, wind-driven hail headed towards Archer City. And if you do the calculations here, this part of the storm here is going to head right at Holiday, Lakeside City, and the south side of Wichita Falls. With hail and strong wind gusts. I know that Garrett is making his way back down to it. He said, matter of fact, I want to go to Garrett. We haven't talked to him a lot lately. Let's see if we can get Garrett on the Unity here on the phone. Garrett, what are y'all doing now? Where are you headed and what you seeing?
We're currently heading back to Wichita Falls, like we talked about, Ken. We are along 287 right now. I don't have a exact mile marker for you. However, if I look at my location based on the radar, we're probably about 5-6 miles outside of Iowa Park right now. So we're probably going to keep a close eye on that cell as it's working its way further to the north, Ken. Like you said, we've got that area of broad rotation, and I'm certainly keeping a close eye on that because, like you said, that's going to be working its way towards Wichita Falls, especially if this takes a slight north turn. So currently working our way back that way, looking like we're about to get into some light rain right now.
All right, thanks a lot for that report, Garrett. And let's go back over to the radar. And I'm still watching this area, kind of over Lake Kickapoo at this time. Some really strong wind gusts showing up there. A lot of strong winds blowing away from the radar, and those greens are trying to kind of wrap back around again. So we're keeping an eye on this pretty closely. No tornado warning, but we continue with strong winds. I'm walking over on the wall here, and I can assure you can hear the cough drop in my mouth. But there are the strong winds moving into Archer City now. These winds could gust up above 50, 60 miles per hour. That could create some power outages. This is going to be the north side of the bow, and we have to watch and make sure that this doesn't wrap up and develop into any type of a circulation. It's trying to, but it hasn't yet. This is kind of on the north side of our bow echo. Kind of a little bit of a supercell structure, if you will. So we'll have to watch this as it makes its way over Lake Kickapoo, and from there it's going to kind of go north of Archer City and could threaten the northern side of Archer County, maybe southeastern parts of Wichita County, and then over into Clay County. Even if it doesn't wind up wrapping up and producing a tornado, it's still going to produce some very strong wind gusts. We still have broad rotation back over Lake Kickapoo. And there is your bow, and boy, that is a nasty, nasty signature on the radar. We probably have winds blowing out of the northeast out ahead of this, and you have winds blowing kind of from the southwest to the northeast, and on the north side of it, you've got winds kind of wrapping back around on it. So this is kind of causing that push and pull effect. Now, it's just different than the supercell we were tracking earlier. Just a whole different dynamic. And usually, if you do get a tornado with these, it's usually the weaker variety. So we'll keep an eye on that as it makes its way to the north and northeast. It does show signs of being pretty strong, though, at least wind-wise. And maybe something quick could spin up with this as it makes its way across the northern side of Archer County and eventually up towards Lakeside City into the southeastern parts of Wichita Falls. So we'll watch this area closely. I know Garrett is on his way back down to Wichita Falls to kind of watch that as it comes on in the Comanche Nation Entertainment First Alert Storm Tracker. I'm going to try to pull up my Wichita Falls tower cam, so give me just a few minutes here. We're also monitoring the Weather Service. They're not saying anything yet about that cell, but we're going to watch it closely. They're still saying 70-mile-per-hour winds, Archer, Clay, and Wichita County. That is a new severe. That's a continuation of the severe thunderstorm warning. So, all right, give me just a second here. I think that's the right one. Okay. Now, let's go over to my Wichita Falls tower cam. I'll pull that up. We actually got a new tower cam, but I haven't had a chance to play with it yet, so I'm not going to pull it up yet. All right, so give it just a second. That sometimes takes the data a minute to come through. All right, so we're going to position this. All right, this is looking, remember this is out at Castaway Cove Water Park. Lights in the way, and it's really screwing up the camera here some. But that's kind of looking back off to the south there. Let me see if I can kind of get this out of the lights. Not going to be able to. You know, when you have those lights that are there, it kind of, when you have some raindrops in the lens cap, sometimes they kind of blur it a little bit. But I'm trying to look for lightning strikes as we look down towards Archer County. You know, I may not be just positioned in quite the right direction, but that would be kind of the direction. There it is. There's some lightning strikes. So we're seeing that here in Wichita Falls, but I will say the threat for tornadoes here is low. It's not high at this present time, but there is a severe thunderstorm warning. We're definitely going to see very strong wind gusts moving through Archer City now, some hail as well. Eventually, this part of the storm is going to wrap up and head towards Windthorst in Scotland, and eventually over towards Lake Arrowhead into the Clay County area, over towards Henrietta. And we look at the velocity. There still shows no signs of that rotation trying to wrap up. It remains a very broad rotation and more of a damaging wind threat than a tornado threat. But strong winds, heavy rain, and hail all possible with that storm from Archer City up to Lakeside City, Holiday, and into Wichita Falls. And then eventually that heads towards Henrietta. Down to the south, there's a lot of heavy rainfall also showing up towards Throckmorton, and looks like at least initially these storms stay north of Graham. But we'll see what happens with that. And there was our tornado producing. There's still a supercell. That's been a long track supercell. Still moving over parts of Wilbarger County, but you no longer see the rotation with it as you did earlier. Thankfully, that storm weakened and it actually lifted up before it moved over and moved to the north and to the west before it moved over Wilbarger, or before it moved over Vernon. So there's the movement of it. There's the strong storms. Look at that almost S shape to it. You can really tell that S. Look, it looks like a snake, don't it? If we look at it, we can really see it. There it is. That is almost a perfect S. Strong winds and hail threats and heavy rain. Looks like that'll be moving over Wichita Falls shortly. And we are about to get into the newscast. I do anticipate doing some news coverage. I'm going to take this into the 10 o'clock. I'm going to take this into the newscast. And then I'm going to toss things over to Ashley and let her do some news. And we might even be able to do some sports. We'll kind of wait and see what happens. Looks like no sports. All right, no sports tonight. All right, we do have a team headed to Lockett. So looks like a severe thunderstorm warning is coming out for Comanche. There's still some supercells across southern Oklahoma tonight. And I'm still going to watch this cell as it moves through Tillman County. That's the one that produced the tornado. There's your new warning that just came out. I do not see rotation in that storm at the present time, which is good news. But we're here watching it, that's for sure. And here comes the storm areas moving into Wichita Falls now. It looks like at least these storms are moving into Holiday are just producing some heavy rain, maybe some gusty winds, but they don't look as bad as they do down into Archer County. The rain will pick up in Holiday and Lakeside City and into Wichita Falls. Lightning strikes and maybe some smaller hailstones, but the larger hail and the stronger winds will be down into Archer City, Archer County area, and they'll head towards Windthorst and eventually Lake Arrowhead. Some of those winds could be up to 70 miles per hour, and that could create not only damage but also cause some power outages as it makes its way over that way. All right, now that we're at 10 o'clock, I am going to send things over to do a little bit of news. And we'll also do quite frequent updates on the weather throughout the newscast as well. Let's go to Ashley.